Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're taking a look at the Springbank 10 PX 2022 bottling, Dustin.
Yep. 55%
ABV. I tell you what, Dustin, as soon as I saw this bad boy was coming out, you know me, I love PX. I was like, whew, we need to get our hands on that one.
Yeah, you were getting ready to buy it the secondary, and I was like, dude, give me a shot. I will do my best to get us a bottle or two.
Yeah, we made that happen. So anyway, we distilled in 2012. Good year. The world was supposed to end. Didn't end. My calendar.
I don't even remember that year.
I don't know. That was just crazy to me when the calendar ended. They thought the world ended. You know what I mean? Why wouldn't it just restart like ours starts? I don't know. Anyway, point is, it was bottled October of 2022. Outturn of 10,800 bottles. I'll tell you what, people are going crazy for this. They think Springbank heavily sherry, just like the local barley 10 from a couple years ago.
Yeah. Well, I got to do my classic discussion on Springbank.
Give it to me.
Let's get in here. So this is 7 years refill bourbon. And then somehow it got that dark in 3 years. And as they call it, we pour those heavy. Nice.
Yours heavy.
I knew you were going back to catch yours up. So they poured this 3 years in a Spanish oak hogshead. So I think that's part of the secret to this modern super dark whiskey that is a pure marketing play. Is let's make these whiskeys super dark. And the way we're going to do that is by using smaller barrels, wet first fill casks. And I don't know that it's necessarily been making for better whiskey. But let's get into this one, Mike, and find out. Also, little disclosure. This was cracked open very recently. So this is a little bit too soon of a review. But hey, guys, we're already like the 12th channel to review this. Props, I think Garvin from Garvin's Drams, I believe, was the first channel to get one of these up. And I remember thinking, holy crap, he got that like the day it came out at the distillery.
Nice.
Good on him.
Yeah, so 55% ABV, big ABV, Dustin, and PX sherry is something you know I'm a huge fan of.
I know.
So we both liked the local barley 10 sherry from a couple years ago, but we thought, hey, where's the local barley? Let's get into this one.
I was a little disappointed, but yes, I mean, it's still a good whiskey. Right away, Mike, first nosing. Wow, there is definitely that over-the-top Spanish forced oak note. The PX sweetness dominates it.
I love a sticky PX, but this is aggressive sherry.
And
this is not subtle at all.
You know what's funny is I don't think this is a note we say all the time on whiskeys, Mike. I got it last night. I'm getting it tonight.
Purple?
Not purple, no. Mint. I am getting dirty mint, which I've never gotten on Springbank that I can remember.
No, you're right.
I mean, it's starting to get into like a slight umami, meaty thing, like something you'd put on a steak, but it's stopping well short of getting anywhere close to that local barley.
Now, this is natural color, so this is dark. And for only 3 years in a PX cask,
they're manipulating that oak.
First fill or not.
Yeah, they're doing something to either the sherry or the oak.
I'll tell you what, this color smells reflective of exactly how sticky and over the top this sherry is.
Yeah. They just left a ton of sherry in there.
Yeah, it's not just the color. It's the nose of it, for sure. It penetrated not only the color of this whiskey, but every facet of it.
But again, that Spanish oak is so prevalent. I mean, 3 years is putting in an insane amount of oak. Like, there's no way this hogshead could have made it 15, 20 years just in that hogshead. I mean, it would be an oaked balm.
It's spicy now. Yeah, good amount of spice. I'm struggling to find smoke here.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of maybe barrel char, but I'm not getting any Springbank peat. I'm not getting the funk, and I'm not getting that Springbank cookie dough kind of note.
That's always the...
Oh, well, no. In the middle there, just for a second, I think I got Springbank.
Cookie dough?
Just almost like, how do I say it? Springbank vanilla cookies?
This was my knock with the local barley that was all sherry. If you want to do a 10-year-old, kind of sherry bomb whiskey, I get it. Mm-hmm. But I don't get all the things I normally get from Springbank. And plus at 55%, it's just super dominating the experience.
Yeah.
It's all about cask.
I don't know if it's the wine note as much as it is the oak note. Again, I just, these Spanish oak, and I'm guessing this is what they're using on the new 15s, they are a little over the top, and they're unfortunately hiding one of the best distillates in the world from letting it shine.
That was our problem with the local barley. So here's the thing. There is something, as soon as you said that, reminiscent about the last two Springbank 15s in this as far as the sherry note. Dark, wet sherry. Which I expected out of that one.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, man, this smells like sticky sweet PX too.
I really like the fact that it's got that sticky sweet PX and this is not an Oloroso cask where it's drying is really kind of, for me, saving it. Because I actually, as much as I'm saying, hey, I miss the Springbank, hey, I don't like that oak note as much as, it's just too much. I love that sticky sweet. And that's balancing with that over-the-top oak. And it's actually creating a really nice experience that I think otherwise could have been quite unpleasant.
I wouldn't call this super balanced, but it is balanced.
It's balancing.
Yes. In the sense that these dudes are swinging hard. There's 3 or 4 hard swings here.
You're getting punched in the face with this one.
Yes, but at least it's consistent.
You're getting punched on the cheeks, you're getting punched on this cheek, you're getting punched in the nose.
You're getting jabs, hooks, and uppercuts.
They get you in the back of the head. That's where the balance is missing.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting hints. I think when we put some water in here, that'll be the kind of the test to see if the Springbank malt can kind of find its way out on the nose. Mike will give us his first thoughts on the palate here in just a second. But yeah, I gotta say, man, I mean, it's a cool looking color, even if I do think it's almost like an intentional thing they're doing to try to over the top create color in some of these recent casks.
Okay. Well, still, when you're holding the liquid in their mouth, still a lot of PX. It's hard to get past. But the Springbank starts fighting its way through. Then as soon as you swallow, instantly, sweetness, PX, sticky. Then it goes into dark sugar cookies. Sugar cookies, maybe you put brown sugar in instead of normal sugar. You know what I mean? Yeah, brown sugar, Springbank cookies. Then, when you swallow, there is a little bit of that funk as it goes down, and there's a wisp of smoke that I would normally associate with Springbank, but then just a lot of chocolate, a lot of stinging on the side, a little bit of bitter. But I tell you what, right here at the end now, nice little ridge of vanilla. Mm-hmm. Comes through vanilla with that Springbank funk here right at the end.
Yep.
Sugar cookies still got brown sugar in them, not normal sugar, but it's right there.
I'm right there with you with a couple of little notes that are different.
Hit me.
So I actually get a good bit of peat here. I think this is actually coming off as one of the peatier Springbanks because the way the peat and that Spanish oak are kind of playing together, it's kind of making the peat stand out for me.
What part did you get the peat though?
Kind of
at the end, like mid palate at the end.
End of mid palate, into the start of the finish, and then it kind of fades out.
Correct. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Maybe.
And then the sugar cookies, exactly like you said. I think there's a whisper of cinnamon in here, which I don't usually come up with. But there's there's something that's a spice. I mean, it could be nutmeg. Because sometimes those two, even though they're very different spices, because I associate them so much together with Christmas holiday stuff, it kind of just sometimes I'm like, my brain just kind of goes to the wrong one. But there's a little bit of that spice. Otherwise, I think you nailed it. You're right. It's the sugar cookie comes in, but you're right. It's brown sugar cookies.
Dark.
And they've managed to keep, again, there is over-the-top Spanish oak that's unbelievably oaky, but yet they've found a way with those sticky casks and the Springbank malt and that way the peat played with it, where it really actually becomes almost a benefit to this whiskey, whereas it should have been a negative.
The PX part of it's so aggressive. Now with water, the Springbank funk's coming up more with water.
Yeah. Well, and by the way, I forgot to mention mint.
Oh, you're right. It's all over the end of this experience on the finish, isn't it?
Yeah, it is minty, which again, I've never, to my knowledge, said mint on a Springbank. Man.
You know what's funny about that? Every time you said that, I'm like, oh yeah, that's super obvious. But as soon as I'm not thinking about it, it's like the Invisible Man.
Yeah. Well, because,
it's here, but I can't see him.
Well, the thing is, you build these, kind of brain patterns, right? Like, when I taste a rye, I start tasting mint. And sometimes it's not even there, but I just associate the two so much that I can't not taste it almost. Whereas Springbank, I've never thought of mint before.
But you're right, it's there.
It's there.
It almost has to be from the cask, and I don't know what about the cask would impart that flavor, but I've never had that on a Springbank before, so.
Yeah,
PX does some funky things.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's got to be that Springbank is sourcing from somebody who's using the same Spanish hogsheads, but this PX cask they put in, I think this is a little bit better sherry than they're getting for some of their other stuff. Maybe it's actually older sherry, because I'm guessing they're probably putting 6 to 8 year old sherry in their stuff, which is in the world of Scotch premium sherry for finishing, you know. But this might have been 10 or 15 years of sherry maturation.
Yeah, it's a fun whiskey, but even now the PX is so predominant on the experience. I'm almost like, it's almost like sunshine in your eye. I'm trying to I get it. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to pick up. I'm trying to see the road here. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's just this PX experience is just it's so dominating on a whiskey that, I mean, Springbank is pretty recognizable.
So some people have told me it's a dirty malt, which I disagree with, but it is a bold malt. It is not one that gets.
It's dirty.
It's dirtier than a Balvenie, but I mean, I don't know if it's dirtier than a Lefroy.
Yeah, it is.
It's not dirtier than. I disagree. I think Lefroy's much dirtier. So those iodine notes. Come on. This is just. Here's kind of where I'm coming, Mike. This is fun. Mm-hmm. This is really fun whiskey because it's bold. There's nothing off-putting about the age. Because, when you see 10 years and you start thinking, well, that could be good, but that also could be, we're going to get blasted with over-the-top sherry to hide a shitty whiskey. This does not come off like there's shitty malt behind it.
Springbank does 10-year-old whiskey pretty well. Springbank is very similar to Islay, where they can knock it out of the park at 10 years old and do on a regular basis. So here's really the question, Dustin. From the normal 10, that's 46% ABV. This is very similar to the normal 10, probably, other than the last 3 years, instead of taking the traditional route that 10 takes, it just got hit with this PX. And it got 55% ABV, which may not be cask strength, but it's still a lot higher than 46. Is it worth twice the amount of money?
It's a good question, and the answer is
yes.
No.
Yes. You like the Springbank 10 way more than me.
That said, like the Springbank 10, I'd pay $150 for the one if I didn't have one at home. So I think the Springbank 10 is a bottle that I'll always have. So the reality is the question is this worth close to $200 after tax and everything? And the answer is yeah, it is.
It is. All right, so let's get into the whiskey score, and if you would allow me to go first. So I've been going back and forth between two scores. On the face of it, this isn't my score, but on the face of it, this is basically an 87 whiskey. It's an over-the-top sherry maturation, young, high ABV whiskey. Mm-hmm. But because there's something about the PX I like, and it is Springbank, I'm going to give it an 88. And 88 is this to me. I enjoy this whiskey, and I want to drink this whiskey. This is a whiskey I will buy. So regardless of the price, if it's an 88, I'll buy that whiskey. It's like the 410 cask strength. I don't necessarily think that's an 88 quite, but you understand what I'm saying. Like, this is a fun whiskey, as you mentioned before.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy this whiskey, 88 out of 100.
Yeah.
I'm probably stretching it by a point.
So, it's an 86 in score for me.
I said I'm probably stretching it by a point.
Well, but wait for it.
You give it to me.
My enjoyment on this is an 88 all day. That was exactly the score I was going to give it, but come on, man. It is...
Well, what did I say? It's probably an 87.
It's a little young. It's sparky. It's punching you with notes that are kind of forced. Like, this isn't matured. All of these things go together. It's like, hey, man, let me give you a punchy Springbank. Let me just throw a ton of oak in there. Let me throw this PX at you. But the end result is it's just freaking fun. I'm smiling as I talk about it. But objectively, man, this is a
really good comedian regurgitating the same material he did 15 years ago. But he's a good performer, and it's a fun time.
To me,
it's not excellent material.
See, to me, it's a knockoff Chris Rock. It's not Chris Rock, but he's giving you the Chris Rock story, and it's still just as funny as it was when Chris Rock did it, but it's not his. And that's, to me, what this is. It's like, this feels forced. It feels like they were trying to throw all this stuff together. And you know what? It came out beautiful, but this isn't what Springbank is about. This isn't what they do best. But damn, it's good.
When I saw this, and we saw, look what's coming out. This is a while back, a few months ago. What did we all say?
Have to get it. Probably not going to be that great. We said both.
That's exactly what I was going at.
And but the thing
I
is,
got to get my hands on this. Probably won't be that
but
great.
the thing is, this could have been so disappointing and so offensive. We know, like, the Kilkerran 8, the Rechar.
Mm-hmm.
We know where that went. Mm-hmm. We know where the fresh sherry one went. We liked it, but still, it was like, ugh. We knew where the local barley, where they just overdid the sherry, went.
Yeah,
the
spirit saved this.
They let the spirits somehow still show up, which is shocking. And the PX, I think, versus Oloroso saved this.
Dirty cookies.
The fact that those cookies are still coming through, man, made this such a fun whiskey. See, objectively, I think it should be an 86, Mike, but it's an 88 all day for me in my mouth. And you know what? Even on the nose, man, I'm actually, again, I could be critical. I'm just having fun. And that sometimes matters more.
That's where we're at. If you guys had a chance to try this one, we'd like to know what you guys think. What was it, 10,000 bottles? They said
10,800 bottles.
Dustin knows that like the back of his hand. 10,800 total bottles. If you guys had a chance to try this one, we'd like to know what you guys think. Dustin, until next time, what do we wish the folks?
Fun drinking.
See you then.